Hello, everybody. My guest today is Darshan Kaler. He is the CEO and founder behind a company called Tradable Bits, which helps music and sports brands know their fans and marketers and market smarter. Their fan data platform is built for one purpose: to create the best possible fan experience. Music festivals and sports teams trust them to collect, analyze, and activate their fan data at scale, increasing ROI with automated personalization. Darshan, are you ready to take us to the top?
All right. Sounds good.
All right. So tell us more about what the company does and how do you price this thing? How do you make money?
Well, first of all, its main purpose in life is to really understand the fans that actually go through to sporting games or go to a festival or a concert. We all know that each individual person that comes to a given event has multiple different reasons, right down to the affinity of the artist, meaning that they like the artist, that's why they're going, to to a group activity, a group of friends coming together to enjoy a moment in time. But bottom line, for a lot of people that are in the entertainment industry, they're all about trying to make sure that they get the best experience. But in the end, in the digital world, when you're trying to do advertising, it becomes a much harder struggle to make sure that one, awareness on the particular event that's happening, and then also trying to maximize your advertising budget so that you can get into a scenario where you're reaching the right audience for a given type of event. So our platform does all of those things to ensure that the fan experience, you're getting ads that are more appropriate to you, for example, all the way down to a communication basis where informing you of certain activities and events that may happen within your neighborhood.
So Darshan, who are you charging? The company, the event organizer, or the attendees, the fans?
This is actually tied to the promoter. So in this case, our clients are going to be like the companies like the Live Nations of the world, Ticketmaster, or right down to a potential artist that's trying to roll out their new album and things like that tied to a label.
And how do you price to them? Is it number of attendees predicted? Is it a pure play SaaS model, fixed fee? What is it?
It is a SaaS model. It's a long-term play. It's not necessarily I'm going to do one campaign with you and then run with that. So we do an integration with the ticketing vendor of choice, whether it be Eventbrite, Ticketmaster, or FrontGate, whichever models, and then we integrate that also as part of your enterprise. So typically, most people that are going to be buying this thing is not a consumer base. It's a B2B, so this is a business to business transaction. And providing, certainly our platform provides services onto the consumer basis. So
Darshan, give me an example, right? So all these companies are paying you, whether it's a small artist or Live Nation. On average, though, if I force you to give me an average, what's the average customer paying you per year to do and use the platform?
It's going to range between a starting point of $15,000 a year all the way up, depending on the volume of data that we're going to be providing services to.
Measured by what? Number of events, number of attendees? How do you measure the data?
Data is tied to individual fan records. So for us, for example, you as an individual is one potential fan record ID. However, you might have an Instagram account, you might have a Facebook account, you might have a LinkedIn account. All of those things are different personas of yourself. You're still considered on our platform as one fan record.
Okay, got it. So minimum is 15 grand. I mean, is that an accurate average though, or is your average much higher than that?
No, that's about a good starting point.
Okay. And give me more of the backspace here. Were you at like an EDM concert, rocking and rolling, sniffing all kinds of crazy things, and you said, you know what, I gotta create a fan engagement platform. Like, how'd you launch this thing?
That's a great question. So prior to starting Tradable Bits, I was a director of Olympic services during the Winter 2010 Vancouver Winter Olympics. And as part of my mandate was to deliver flawless games, and it was really interesting to see media competing with the mom and pop down on the bottom of the hill, where they're sending a tweet of the time and awesomeness of that activity, and then NBC going, guys, we have to compete now in real time. So these photos and images need to be up on our website as fast as they go on to Facebook or Twitter. So that really dawned on me as something, the unique change in our industry, where everybody is an editor, an opportunity to engage in the world. And what shocked me the most was that people didn't really understand an individual who was on Twitter may be different than they are on Facebook, and certainly different than they are on LinkedIn. But it's still the same person. And so then we came up with a model of understanding social media and in the enterprise world.
Interesting. So what year would that have been? Year one?
Year one would have been 2011 when we first rolled out our suite of apps.
Okay. And how many people are you at today?
Well, the engagement platform, if we go and take a look at it, we've gone through a lot of different ebbs and turns in the technology. So when we first rolled out Tradable Bits in 2011 was to really understand social media. So we actually gave the platform for free.
Yeah, Darshan, sorry, what's your team size today?
Oh, team size, we're over 17 people.
Okay.
And we're adding more people.
All in Vancouver?
All in Vancouver.
Okay, so now go back to the question I think you were answering, which is what have you scaled to in terms of total customers?
Yeah, so you have to take a look at it from an engagement perspective. So total customers for us, for example, if we have a Live Nation, that's one company, but they may have multiple different events, concerts, and so on. So there's hundreds, if not thousands, of activities. So we have to look at it from engaged audience. So today, we're about on an active basis over 20 million engaged audiences on a yearly basis.
Okay, but price that out. So what I'm trying to do is price that out. So when you say an account pays you on average 15 grand a year, right? Do you include Live Nation as one customer in that scenario, or you break them down into the 30 different events that they run?
Yeah, they might depending on the engagement component, it might change. So if we're looking at actual, let's take a look at companies by entity. We're about 250 different companies that we deal with.
Got it. And that's including the Live Nation all the way down to the solo artist that wants to use you for 3 events a year.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Now, can I multiply 250 times, $15,000 ACV, assuming you guys are doing about 300 grand per month right now in revenue?
Well, it changes from month per month, but yeah, you can go anywhere between 200 to 300.
Okay. Well, and why does it? Most SaaS revenue is very predictable. Why is yours change month to month?
Yeah, great question. So we do audience targeting as well for ads and so on. So in some cases, depending on the time of the year, there might be more ads, and we take a percentage fee associated with those things.
I see. Okay. And what % of your revenue is that versus a pure play SaaS model?
It's about 20%.
Okay, so it's not okay. So you're mainly a SaaS model.
Yeah, it's insignificant compared to the overall piece.
So is it fair to say pure SaaS, you're around 200 grand per month right now in revenue, and then you make another 50 grand ish per month on paid stuff, paid ad optimization?
Yeah, it goes up and down. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And it's probably very seasonal.
Yeah.
Interesting. And what's growth look like? Are you doubling year over year?
Yeah, so we're growing 50% year over year.
Okay, 50. Okay, so 50%. So about a year ago, call it, you were doing, maybe 130-ish per month, pure play SaaS.
Yeah, and it changes. So from our perspective, it's interesting now that we're in the millions in revenue. Growing from hundreds of thousands of revenue to millions is significantly different.
Yeah. So over the past 12 months, what'd you do? Like 2.3, something like that?
Well, at this point, we're looking at growth, or we're looking at
just total revenue over the past 12 months. It was what, 2.5, something like that?
Yeah.
And then what do you think you'll do this year?
Depending on, right now we're just focusing on North America, right? And we are taking a look at potentially going South America and Europe. We haven't decided whether we're going to go that route, but if we do, then that's going to generate some other significant income. But for now, it'll be between, I'd say targeting to about, 2 to 3 million in growth.
Okay, so that would be on top of the 3 you're currently doing. So hopefully hitting 5 million in total revenue, something like that.
No. Sorry, 2 to 3 million in total that we want to try to attain. So the growth every year, 50%, we've been doing in the last 3 years. It's harder to do when you're starting to get to 2 to 3 million.
Yeah, Darshan, sorry, just to be clear though, if in the past 12 months you've done $2.5 million and you're saying over the next 12 months you want to do between 2 and 3 million, that's not growth, that's flat.
It's flat from that perspective right now if we don't go into Europe.
Got it. So you don't think you can drive growth if you just stay in North America?
At this point, we haven't seen the growth capacity, because once we start signing up some large accounts, It's more about trying to get their sub accounts inside in there. So, for example, if we sign up a company like a Live Nation, there's multiple different events underneath there, and so they're cyclical. So at that point, if we get them in at a particular time frame, we might not get them again the following year.
Yeah, interesting.
Right?
Have you bootstrapped the thing or raised capital?
We raised $0.
That's a nice place to be. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we've never raised any money, and at this point, it's all organic growth through word of mouth.
Tell me about churn.
Churn is more tied to the refocus. So in the last year, a year and a half, we focused exclusively on sports and music, and so we did have companies that are tied to tourism and things like that we've slowly said goodbye to because
so how much total revenue churn has there been with the model change?
No, a small amount. I'd say about 5%.
Okay, annually.
Annually, yeah.
And does your expansion revenue across the customers you're going more after now more than make up that 5%? So that net growth is there or no?
Oh yeah, no. We are growing every month, and so the churn is not something that is impacting us.
So do you know what net revenue retention is?
Well, let's see. If we're taking at this point, we're just focusing on music, right? Music and sports. The retention on that side is, I would say, or churn, I should say, is probably less than 1%, because it's not like it's a very sticky product. So once it gets deployed inside the enterprise world, it's very difficult to remove.
What are you spending to acquire these customers? What's CAC?
So the spend is predominantly tied to events. We don't do a lot of digital advertising. We go through and inform a lot of our clients through those scenarios. So cost per acquisition can range between $3,000 to $5,000, and from that perspective, we're pretty strategic about which events we go to.
Yeah, and if you're making $1,000 or $2,000 per month from customer, it means you're getting paid back in 2 to 3 months, right?
Pretty well, yeah. On an average, depending on which events that we go to, some are more expensive to sponsor, but in most cases, we get those return at least within 6 months.
6 months, okay, good. And then what do you assume? This is hard, but what do you assume these customers are worth to you over their lifetime?
I would say each customer is within. Let's take a look at the last 3 years of most of our customers that have been on the platform. A lifetime is going to be between 50 to 60 grand in a 3-year window.
Okay, interesting. Interesting. And folks you're signing up now, is that kind of what you're using for forecasting? You think 50, 60 grand lifetime value, which means call it 3-4 years? Yeah.
That's pretty well our overall view. We get, if we get a large account, it might be much larger than that, mind you. We might attain 3 to 4 times the size of value.
Yep. Interesting. All right, let's wrap up here, Darshan, with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
Don't Make Me Think. So that's the basis of everything that we do.
That's good. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
Well, Bill Gates has always been an individual I like to follow. Number
3, what's your favorite online tool for building the business?
The best online tool for building a business, believe it or not, is Google Suite products.
Yep. Number 4, Darshan, how many hours of sleep are you getting every night?
If I'm lucky, 5.
And what's your situation? Married, single, you have kids?
I have kids and married.
How many kids?
I have 3 kids.
Wow, 3. Okay, and how old are you?
I am now 48.
48, okay. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Well, let's see. The fact that by the time you reach 40, you get old very fast. So make sure you are, you're good with your body in your 20s.
Start early, be good with your body. From Darshan. Launched his company back in 2011. Now it's 17 people based in Vancouver, helping events more effectively manage and fill their events and remarket to fans to keep them engaged over the long term. Serving about 250 customers, paying $1,000-ish per month. So 250 grand per month right now on a revenue. That's about 80% pure SaaS, and then about 20% is some ad spend fees there. Less than 5% gross churn annually. that's on a revenue basis, paying about $3 to $5 to acquire a customer, getting that back in under 6 months. Darshan, thank you for taking us to the top.
All right. Thank you.